It's the early line here on a Thursday morning. It's time to get down to the action. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. Tonight, did you know the NFL draft is here? Because, by the way, the hype around it, the information flowing here, kind of boring. Or is it just, yeah, it's in Pittsburgh and the number one draft pick's like, yeah, this is kind of boring. I don't even want to be there. We'll try to get you hyped up today, get the information that you need. Kevin Walsh is going to join us a little bit later. And also Mark Zinno. But we do have some NHL hockey to talk about. My Philadelphia Flyers with a 3-0 series lead against the ancient Pittsburgh Penguins. Time to put them to sleep. My Philadelphia Phillies, absolute stink. My Sixers eventually going to take the court in a 1-1 series against the Celtics, but it's not Philadelphia-centric. Joe represents South Florida, and we're going to bring the heat today over the next 2 hours. Action, excitement, picks, plays, and certainly opinions, Joe.
Well, Donnie, I mean, you're not being fair. I do think Pittsburgh Penguin fans will be very interested in what happens in the draft tonight since, well, their season's just about over, and it's time to focus on the Steelers. That's all I'm saying.
By the way, Joe, you know what else should be said? Do you know any good realtors in the villages here for Sidney Crosby, Letang, Malkin? They can all move down there, relax, grab the golf cart, and have a nice time in retirement. But it's time for the hot topic of the day. We're ready to deliver it fresh. It's a Thursday. Get some caffeine. Joe's ready to deliver. Where are we going?
Well, Donnie, unfortunately, it pains me, but today we need to talk about what is happening in the Bronx and how the single most legendary franchise in the history of Major League Baseball is desperately trying to become just like everyone else. Because we learned earlier this week that the players inside the New York Yankees clubhouse are actively pitching the front office to let them wear an alternate road jersey this season. They want to trot out their navy blue batting practice tops during actual games, Donnie. Because for over a century, you had exactly two options with the New York Yankees: pinstripes at home and solid gray on the road. No names on the back. You didn't need a colorful alternate jersey because, well, you were the damn New York Yankees. And it's becoming increasingly clear to me that this Yankees organization is completely losing, if not completely have lost, their identity. The front office has already caved and lifted the legendary no facial hair rule, not to mention they built a sterile corporate shopping mall of a stadium that pipes in artificial noise just to remind the guys who are eating lobster in the luxury suites when they should clap. And now, this current generation of players wants to hop on the trend train because, well, every other team in the league gets to wear a special third uniform. Let's inject some reality into this conversation for a minute. When did the Yankees start playing follow the leader? This organization built a global empire by ignoring trends, walking to the beat of their own drum, and putting 27 World Series trophies in a display case. But it has been 16, and I mean 16 long, agonizing years since they actually won a championship. And what happens when you stop winning? Well, you stop feeling special. You become ordinary. So now these players who are wearing the same uniforms guys named Ruth, Gehrig, Mantle, and Jeter wore, they feel it's absolutely necessary to dress like the rest of the league. So congratulations to Hal and to all the others in the New York Yankees organization. You are officially becoming just like every other team. Enjoy that, Yankees. Let's see how that works out for you.
Right up my, I'm telling you right now, I didn't look to see what your, response was going to be on this. Absolutely spot on. Because if we take away the layers here, Joe, right? Like Wrigley doesn't have a lot of history outside of, it's a cool ballpark. They didn't win a lot of championships in Chicago. Go over to Fenway in Boston. They didn't win a ton of championships, but it's legendary places that they have. Like, you know what? Go to Wrigley, it's a pilgrimage. Go to Fenway, it's a pilgrimage. When you walk in the old Yankee Stadium, you could hear the ghosts and the echoes of unbelievable baseball players, historic moments in that stadium. And they knocked it down and went across the street and built a horrible stadium. And you're right about, this is supposed to be old-time baseball with legends here. The legends no longer play at the stadium, and you're right. They do pump in an incredible amount of music because the players want it, because if they don't play the music, they might get distracted by the fans. And also, Joe, you're right about this. The Yankees always had that I don't care who you are, what player, you're going to come here, shave your face, not look ridiculous out here. We're going to have the uniforms that everybody respects and also tradition. But I do got to give out a shout out to Aaron Judge because he is on that panel, I guess, that's pitching these uniforms. And he did lay a slinger out that's like, you want to talk about tradition? We have Star Insurance as a patch on our uniforms. So you know what? If there's one answer that you could have had, Aaron Judge gave it. But Joe's absolutely right. The Yankees, 27 championships here in the most legendary ballpark you can have, knocked it down now with new uniforms. And yeah, maybe if they were winning 5 out of every 10 seasons of World Series, that would be okay. They don't win anymore. Time to change the tradition? I don't think so. Yankee fans in a tough spot here. Awesome topic to start the day, Joe. Let's get to our early lineup and have some even more fun because the hits keep on coming. You're telling me Vrabel had a press conference that basically admitted to his infidelity and he had to have some tough conversations. But then you want to almost get on Broadway and have a display of, I'm not going to be there for day 3 of the draft because it's so important that I get counseling. You can't write a more ridiculous script what's going on with this story, Joe.
The PR team got a hold of him and was like, listen, here's what's going to happen. Here's what you're going to do. Act of contrition, and it's fine. We'll just listen, Tiger Woods is doing exactly the same thing right now that Vrabel is going to be going through. He's just going to lay low, play it by the book, and all will be forgotten in another 6 weeks.
Joe, what is the counseling that he's actually going for? Can you just answer that question? And it's so important that it's going to be on a Saturday of the draft in day number 3, as almost like he's grandstanding. Like, what is the counseling, and where is this Saturday counseling actually taking place?
I know exactly where it is. It's going to be on the first tee at a very exclusive country club someplace so he can pretend like he's going to counseling, but instead get a quick 18 holes in there with friends. Who are you kidding? What's he counseling on? And again, if it's such a private matter, what the hell do I care if he's going to counseling or not? Makes no sense.
You know what? We respect honesty. Get up at the press conference. Infidelity, that's my thing here. I apologize. I ruined my family. I'm going to seek help. We got a draft to get to. And people are like, you know what? He's right about it. It's his private life. We'll deal with this later. Let's get to some hot topics here. Giannis Antetokounmpo. He wants out again. This time not, I don't want to go to New York. I don't want to go to Miami. I want to go to Phoenix. Never changes with this guy. Just get him out of there.
Basically, what he's saying is, exactly, Donnie. Just get me the hell out of here. I don't care. I'll go anywhere except for the Washington Wizards. That's the only thing he left out there. But he will literally go anywhere at this point outside of Milwaukee.
Yeah, and how about this topic here? Lamine Yamal. Could be a fake name here. I don't know what he's doing in the topics. Who knows? But he has a hamstring tear. Who cares? Hamstring tear. Who cares, Joe? Do you?
Oh, I know. I'm very upset for, what did you say, Yamal?
Yes.
Yeah, very upset for him. I hope Yamal is speedy recovery.
Now, maybe he can use some of the money that Kalen DeBoer is going to make, Joe. Almost $13 million a year from Alabama. That's right. He won like 6 championships. Maybe he didn't win 6 championships, Joe.
Yeah, well, but he is the head coach of Alabama football, which means A, he's going to get paid, and B, Donnie, he is forever going to be on the hot seat. There will be people who say, pay him, and there will be people that say, you got to fire him after every year. Saban went through the same thing.
Yeah. Tiago Splitter, if you didn't have that graphic up there, I have no idea who he played for or what he's doing here, but apparently he's trying to be a pro amid reports that new owner Tom Dundon has already begun speaking to candidates to replace him. Oh, he's a coach. Thought he was a player. There you go.
Well, he is, in fact, the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers there, Donnie, and he's lucky the owner is actually wanting to spend money at all, apparently.
Didn't he pay for San Antonio in the past? I vaguely remember that. Kansas City, Indiana, Man City. Who cares about those stories? The topics are ready to go, Joe. It's draft night. I think, maybe. We'll be right back to talk about this and more on the early line.
don't get it, man. Maybe this is more of a Kalshi poly market conversation to jump in on the prediction markets. But to me, this is the spot that I would roll with the Rays, man. I think they're undervalued every year, and I think they're undervalued this year again. Look, the Yankees should be the favorite. They're the best team on paper. Baltimore, Toronto, and Boston? Donnie, are they that much better than Tampa Bay? What am I missing here?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Can't alienate your fan base. That's the problem. You got to show your fan base that you're still trying to win, and you want to sell tickets in the summertime. You don't want to go into mid-May and say, all right, we're 15 games out, but it's still only early May. No, fans will stay away. So you don't have the luxury anymore of just waiting. So someone's got to get fired. One of these teams is going to fire someone by the end of the month.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
There are guys are great. We don't know that about Cal Raleigh. It is possible that Cal Raleigh isn't one of the 5 best catchers in baseball by the end of this season. And that's the difference. It's not possible that Aaron Judge isn't one of the 5 best outfielders in baseball. That's not on the board. It's on the board for Cal Raleigh.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
To get down to the business, people, it is a Thursday, one step closer to Friday. The draft is tonight. The playoffs roll along in the NHL and also the NBA and Major League Baseball, which I'm trying to forget about because the Mets actually picked up a victory, but my Phillies, they're probably going to pass the Mets with maybe 13 or 14 straight losses the way they're going. But it's okay. Rob Thompson's just fine in Philadelphia. Dave Dombrowski says that's not the reasoning here. As I digress, let's get to the action tonight. The Atlanta Hawks at home, Joe, to face the New York Knicks. This series is tied as 1. Atlanta, now the home team. Overnight lines and opening lines showed the Knicks as a very short favorite, Joe, -1 to -1.5. Now some outlets are actually showing a 1.5-point favorite towards those Atlanta Hawks. A low total of 216.5. New York goes down to the Big A. Time for Game 3, Joe. Give me a nice little reaction on a spread line here.
Well, it's, all of a sudden the Knicks, who have led and controlled most of this series outside of one quarter, and that being the fourth quarter of the last game, have now all of a sudden feels like could be going off as a road dog here. Now, listen, they've had their problems on the road this year. They were much better at home than they were on the road. But the problem is it's the playoffs. And we're still dealing with a very inexperienced Atlanta Hawks team. And, this series to me, Donnie, always had zigzag written all over it. Bouncing back and forth because this feels like what's going to happen. But ultimately, experience matters. And experience matters here with the Knicks. I don't think it should be a pick'em price, which is kind of where it's at. I do think that the over is once again worth taking a look at here, even though the Knicks only scored 15 in the fourth to keep it under. But I do think maybe points are on their way in this game here tonight.
Could be here. Low total here. Let's go north to the 6. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers going to take on the Toronto Raptors tonight. Overnight lines, -3s, -2.5s, depending on where you're shopping at. The total now listed at 220.5. The Cavaliers on the road to take care of the Raptors, or can the Raptors get some revenge tonight, Joe? Give me a spread line here.
A lot of tickets and money on the Cleveland side here, but opened up 2.5, 3, Donnie, and maybe a rogue 3.5 here or there, but for the most part, for all those tickets and the amount of bets coming on Cleveland, and this line really isn't moving all that much, let's got to tell you that there is some influential money coming in on the Raptors here, keeping this thing right around a bucket. And listen, you're going to find out everything you need to know about this Raptors team at home, right? Do they have what it takes to get back into the series? Because we all know what happens if you go down 3-0, and that means it's likely over. Just ask the Pittsburgh Penguins. But I like the Raptors in this one. I think they have a little something left in the tank here. And Emmanuel Quigley, keep an eye on his availability. They need him on the court here tonight, the Raptors, if they're going to have a chance to put this 2-1.
All right, we got a triple header in the association tonight. Late night action. Going to like this one. The Denver Nuggets taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves, Joe. The Nuggets on the road as a slight favorite, -1.5 and a total of 234.5. So tonight, Joe, 1.5, 3.5, 1.5. No more 17.5 and 14.5 on the board. Give me a little Nuggets Timberwolves action here. And what can we expect from a spread line?
But you got to love this one. You know, this is quietly flying under the radar. These are two teams that do not like one another. They are running to microphones left and right, taking shots at each other here. And look at that total, Donnie. In a playoff atmosphere, we're still getting the mid 230s. Feels like a regular season, Thursday night game, but it's not. It's going to be two offenses that are going to go at each other. Denver's MO is we are going to drop 130 on you. We don't care about playing defense. Minnesota's not as good defensively as they have been, but they're going to be able to score on this defense of Denver. So I don't care about the side. I definitely think team totals and the total in the game are certainly in play tonight.
Triple header in the association, triple header in the NHL. Let's get to some hockey talk. Buffalo and Boston. Series tied 1-1. Series shifts to Boston. And if we take a look at this line, Joe, how about that? -110, -110 split, exactly the way you would want it, and a total of 6.5. Buffalo-Boston tonight. What's the spread line here, Joe?
Coin flip. That's what we've got going on. So listen, Boston showed some... And they showed some gumption there, man. Coming back, you couldn't go down 2-0 and then go back to your place, especially blowing two leads in two games. That would have been absolutely horrific. But you know what? Pasternak and company there got it done. And if we're being honest, Donnie, this is another series where outside of a handful of minutes in the third period in both games, Boston has dominated Buffalo in this series here. Now they get to go home. You know what those Boston fans are going to be like. Give me the edge to the Boston Bruins to get it done here tonight.
Late night action. Let's take a look at Colorado, the Avalanche. Many people think they're going to win the Stanley Cup, taking on the Kings. Series shifts from Colorado over to Los Angeles, and a heavy favorite on the road for Colorado, Joe. -160s to -165s now, depending on where you're shopping. In a total, though, listed at 5.5. Did the Avalanche continue to avalanche the Kings here tonight, Joe? What's the spread line?
I mean, they're down 2 games to none, Donnie, but the total, they've lost 4-2 in combined in these 2 games. They are very much in these games, the Kings, and they've got to be able to find something here. Back against the wall, desperation. This should be, you're going to get everything that the Kings have here tonight at home. Will it be enough? That remains to be seen. But certainly it doesn't feel like they should have been as big an underdog as the markets has made them. I don't know. Maybe I don't think they're getting swept. I think they're getting one, and tonight could be that game, Donnie.
Gotcha. Another game here in the NHL tonight, 7:30 p.m. start. That's Carolina and Ottawa. And then if we shift it back here to the association with the 3 games they have, you got 3 games in the NHL, Joe, 3 games in the NBA, the NFL draft tonight, and Major League Baseball. And by the way, I didn't really want to check right now, but I do see my Philadelphia Phillies in the middle of the afternoon with Sanchez on the mound as a favorite, Joe. I know I'm not asking for a handicap or a spread line here, but the Phillies stink. They stink, Joe. I'm having issues right now.
Not a lot more to say about that, Donnie, except for the good news is you might have a old reliable back on the mound sooner rather than later. So let's hope maybe he can hit, too, because that's not something the Phillies are capable of doing right now.
Saturday Wheeler, Saturday Philadelphia Flyers. That sounds like a weekend for your boy DRS, and the hot topics continue to flow right here on the early line. We'll be back after a short break. Won't you join us?
don't get it, man. Maybe this is more of a Kalshi poly market conversation to jump in on the prediction markets. But to me, this is the spot that I would roll with the Rays, man. I think they're undervalued every year, and I think they're undervalued this year again. Look, the Yankees should be the favorite. They're the best team on paper. Baltimore, Toronto, and Boston? Donnie, are they that much better than Tampa Bay? What am I missing here?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Can't alienate your fan base. That's the problem. You got to show your fan base that you're still trying to win, and you want to sell tickets in the summertime. You don't want to go into mid-May and say, all right, we're 15 games out, but it's still only early May. No, fans will stay away. So you don't have the luxury anymore of just waiting. So someone's got to get fired. One of these teams is going to fire someone by the end of the month.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
There are guys are great. We don't know that about Cal Raleigh. It is possible that Cal Raleigh isn't one of the 5 best catchers in baseball by the end of this season. And that's the difference. It's not possible that Aaron Judge isn't one of the 5 best outfielders in baseball. That's not on the board. It's on the board for Cal Raleigh.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Little NBA action, little college basketball action, some news and notes mixed in. Joe, we know we love these topics, right? Because they're always hilarious to me. On 3 reports, new. Todd Golden, Florida's coach Todd Golden, shoots down reports linking him to the NBA. As always, my favorite quotes. I plan to coach for the Gators next season. You're under contract. You're their head coach. Why would you not be coaching the Gators next year? Instead, he could have just said, quote, I'm the Gators coach. I don't know why anybody's talking about it, which in translation means my agent is working behind the scenes with a half dozen NBA teams to raise my price point here. Then I'll accept the job to go to the NBA. Is that a better translation for you, Joe?
Well, it certainly is, considering I believe him and Lane Kiffin share the same agent. So I think you should take anything he says with a grain of salt, Donnie, shall we say here. If a better offer comes in from Golden State Warriors to jump to the NBA, would he do it? There's a lot of people who think he would, Donnie, so nothing's written in stone just yet.
But we probably think he's going to the NBA. But and again, your agent is working. You're not involved in the process from picking up the phone and calling the Lakers, let's just say, I want that job. Isn't it just so easy? Because if it turns out that the money isn't right and you stay at Florida, and your answer was always, I never was leaving. I don't know where this question came from. It goes over so much like, yeah, this guy's a Gator for life. But I always love this. Like, why plan on coaching? You're under contract. What do you mean you plan? Are you retiring? You're young. You're not, old enough to retire. Just say you're not leaving anywhere. Like Nick Saban did. I'm not going to be the coach of Alabama. Then he leaves. So what? Who cares? Just don't give me the old I might be the coach next year.
Well, he will not be a coach anyplace else in college next year or
Correct.
maybe the year end. Like, he's not leaving the Florida gig for it. There's nothing out there. Yeah. Nobody can offer him anything that's going to make him want to leave what he's put together here at Florida so far. Not to mention he's heard he brought back Thomas Howe, I believe, is coming back for it. Florida is stacked again next year. So he's not leaving anywhere. The only question is, does he use the NBA as leverage like one Mr. Hurley did at UConn to get all of a sudden a raise that is astronomical from Florida? That is the only move I think that's in the bag here.
Yeah, and the transfer portal is open. Just say, no, I'm a Florida Gators coach. So let's say, hey, coach, I want to come down. I got a nice NIL. Are you leaving? Oh, well, I think I'm going to be the coach next year. Just say you are. I mean, what's the big deal at this point? Consensus, first-team All-American Darius A. Jr., he's going to the NBA. No surprise here, Joe. Average about 24 and 6 a game, projected to be a top 10 pick. Guards, we love them in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this NBA draft is going to be pretty funny. And it's the one NBA draft, Donnie, that I can't remember the last time where even if you don't get the number 1 ping pong ball, let's say you get the number 3, 4, 5 ping pong ball, you are still going to get a franchise-changing player that you can draft that's still going to be on the board. It is truly unique what is coming out of college this year and heading to the NBA.
Trying to build up some smoke for the NBA draft, which I don't know who's saying this, but how about this? Front office executives now say around the NBA, it's increasingly believing that Caleb Wilson could be the second pick taken in the June draft. Fire that general manager who gave that update.
Yeah, no. But again, another player that even if you have the fifth, fourth, fifth, sixth, but absolutely he is going. There are a ridiculous amount of guys that any other year, Donnie, would have been number 1 or number 2 in the draft.
Let's go to Adam Silver. He might be the worst commissioner we've ever seen in professional sports, and it might be by a wide margin. Now, on the same breath, you'd like, you know what? You're not moving from Memphis. We love Memphis. It's a great basketball city when apparently it's not, because the team is boring as all get out. It's in a smaller market compared to many others here. And the team, would you ask them, would you like to go to a bigger market? They probably say yes. But then he goes, you know what would be good though, Joe? Play a few games in Nashville. Why? You just said you love Memphis. Now you want to go to Nashville? That just sounds like maybe we'll grease the skids, and if Nashville wants to pony up, we'll move that team. But I'll just put on a strong front and say I like Memphis anyway. You know what you'd say? We're not playing any games in Nashville. Memphis is their team. Like Philadelphia, I like the Sixers. If they go, like, you know what, be awesome? Let's play a couple games in Dover, Delaware every year. That'd be great. No, it wouldn't. It's a sign of a failing franchise. That's what it does. That's what the talking point is.
You're not going anywhere. ... Except in Nashville to play a few games so we can test out that market and see whether an NBA franchise would be worthwhile there. Unreal.
And by the way, ask the owner of the Memphis Grizzlies right now if he would like to rather move to Nashville, get a brand new facility, and make even more money. He'd say yes. So he's probably like, look, can we just at least grease the skids at this point? It was always like the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville when they stunk and nobody played there. And Shad Khan's like, look, you want to move us permanently to London? I'm okay with that, because he would be a billionaire on top of that. We'll be right back after the break. More hot topics coming your way. The draft is tonight. The commissioner will be in town. They will boo him in Pittsburgh. We will all watch to see who's going to be the number 1 overall pick. And you know what's going to be interesting when that name gets called? Mr. Mendoza, come on down. And they pop on the television. And he goes, hey, what's up, guys? I'm live from Miami. Sorry I couldn't be in Pittsburgh because nobody wants to be in Pittsburgh. And he can't dap up the commissioner at this point, Joe. That's what we're going to get tonight. But before we get there, how about this? College football. You know me, Joe, and there's thoughts around the camps that the Congress is going to step in now and say, you must have 24 teams in a playoff. I know you hate it, and I absolutely love it, but there now is no reason here for championship games to be played because it used to be a cash grab. Now we're finding out they're meaningless games at times and also can hurt your team from getting another team into the playoff, where we've seen teams that didn't play in the SEC championship already booked their ticket to the playoff, but the team playing in the SEC championship, if they lose, might not make the playoff here. But how about this? NBC says, yo, got no choice to sell the Big Ten championship game to anyone except Fox. How about that story?
Yeah, anybody but Fox, right? Is that it, Donnie? I mean, you got to be kidding me here. It's just, it's cash grab everywhere. It's unbelievable to me. But you know what? This all started when you gave the NCAA the rights, the media rights to sell, just like they were an NBA team or an NFL team or Major League Baseball. The minute you did that, you created $1 billion business overnight on the backs of a bunch of 18 to 21-year-olds. And this is exactly what you get, Donnie.
It is. Money rules the world. And I love this next story so much because the last laugh you're going to think is with the Chicago Bears. It's actually not. It's with the state of Indiana. So when you take a look at politics, Joe, right? It's like Indiana is a liberal state, or excuse me, is a conservative state, and Illinois is a, liberal state there. So we always thought this was interesting. Like Indiana's like, we already have one football team. Come on, Chicago. We'll lay out the red carpet. We will drive that price higher for the state of Illinois. But if you want, we got a state waiting with a lot of money to give you to put the Chicago Bears in Indiana. So now we're seeing here a report from Evan Sidery. The Illinois House Revenue Committee just voted in favor of the Bears' new stadium in Arlington Heights. It says now if the state house also approves the final step, the Bears are officially staying in Illinois long term, which if you are Indiana, you got to be laughing because how much more did it cost the state of Illinois to keep the Chicago Bears? Because Indiana's like, we'll give you whatever we want, even though the Bears never wanted to go to Indiana. And all it did was force Illinois to pay that much more for the Chicago Bears. Kind of funny how it worked out.
Oh, it's not. It's vintage. It's absolutely vintage. Right out of the playbook, Donnie, right? Say something that absolutely won't come to fruition, but will open up 23 other doors for you to walk right through. It is exactly what they did in this spot here. You don't think somebody was making money with all of this? Oh, please. Unreal.
It's always like the free agent show, let's just say in Major League Baseball, you're never going to get. And you think he's going to a rival. And you just pick up that phone to the agent and go, all right, it was $150 million. Make it $200. And they go, oh, we'll go back to the other team. Like, you can't. They just raised this $50 and we have to pay it here. And you just laugh like, we knew we weren't going to get him. We're going to make sure that other guy pays way more than he was supposed to pay just to show that dagger here. And that's exactly what they did. How about this next? Look, God love the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones, outside of actually building a football team, is a genius at making money. No doubt about it. The Dallas Cowboys may be the biggest, overall brand in the world. Congratulations to him and all the yachts he can afford. But as a general manager and building a roster, you do have some cap restraints that you have to get to. And also understanding the cap restraints, Joe, on the players that you want to restrain. We know George Pickens has a screw loose. So how about this story from Yahoo Sports? Cowboys executive vice president Stephen Jones told reporters Wednesday that the team, not George Pickens, the team has decided he's going to play under that franchise tag this season. There won't be any long-term deal talks. This is going to be set up for some awesomeness in that Cowboys locker room now.
Oh, especially, Donnie, if they're not winning. If they are not winning, and him knowing that, well, let's also not cry me a river here, will you please, George? He's going to be making $27.3 million and fully guaranteed on a one-year deal. So, but the one thing we know about Pickens and the one thing we know about ornery wide receivers, especially dealing in Dallas, if they ain't winning, it gets kind of ugly in a hurry there, and that's exactly the kind of drama Jerry always wanted to avoid, but somehow could never do it over the years. Unreal.
And he can't figure out or understand this. Like when you make the trade for George Pickens, give him the contract. It would be an absolute bargain today compared to what they're paying him. And also under the notion, Joe, with the franchise tag, why does no team want the franchise tag? Number one, the player gets pissed off because he wants his full-time guaranteed money over the length of the contract. But number two, Joe, you can't manipulate the salary cap with a franchise tag. As you said, let's call it $28 million. Usually when you sign a guy to a $150 million contract, it's like, wait a second. His tag this year, Joe, $6 million against the cap. No, Pickens, $28 million, all against the cap in one season. You can't spread it out. Congratulations, Jerry Jones here. How about another great story?
Don't they have a number one receiver? I mean, did I miss something? Yeah, I was going to say, is CeeDee Lamb still in the league? Is he still not a Dallas Cowboy? Like, why are you tying this up with a number two receiver is beyond me, Donnie. Beyond me.
It's Jerry Jones, and what makes the world go around. It really does. In Pittsburgh tonight, we'll have the NFL draft. Here's another one. Surprise, surprise. Andrew Filipponi tweets. How about this one? One source told Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, that Aaron Rodgers is, quote, irritated by what the Steelers and Art Rooney II said about his potential return and reporting date at the NFL owners' meetings. And this could explain the delay in him signing. Got news for you, Pittsburgh. Cut the bait now.
And I got news for you, though, Pittsburgh. If you think he is anywhere near social media or has any idea right now in between, hits of peyote there out in the middle of the desert somewhere, you're out of your mind. This guy goes into hibernation and does his own thing. He could care less. He'll be there when he decides whether he's playing or not, and they should know that, Pittsburgh.
And the best part about it means nothing. They're not going to have a deep playoff run. It's Aaron Rodgers holding you hostage, and away you go at this point here. And by the way, taking a look at this, Fields on joining Kansas City and following Patrick Mahomes, he thinks he's a starter. Does he?
Yeah. I mean, of course, Coach Reid, he's been in the NFL a long time, has had a lot of success, and, very smart. And so that was, of course, deciding factor for me and an exciting factor for me when I came here. And then, of course, Pat, I we, of course, knew of each other, but we didn't really communicate before coming here. So I'm excited to learn from him. I'm already kind of, picking his brain a little bit and just observing how he, goes about things in the meeting room, on the field, and stuff like that. So I'm excited to learn and excited, of course, work with Coach Reid, EB, and, all the guys on offense.
Saying the right things, went to the right spot. No pressure to be the starter, be a backup and learn. But, Joe, also, if you don't think Andy Reid's bringing him in going, if we can use you as a tight end / H-back / 4th and 1 type option here, he would be crazy. This could be the perfect scenario. Hey, look, if you're a quarterback, don't let your pride get in the way. Be that H-back slot, increase your money and increase your years in the league, Joe, by 5-fold if you can do that. Don't be a quarterback, because if you are Fields, you'll be out of the league in 2 years. Be that H-back that they need who can play quarterback in a pinch. You'll make some good money there.
Imagine being that terrible at your job and still figuring out ways to get a paycheck from a team. Beyond me, Donnie. Beyond me how you can be. Let your kids, come on, let the kids start throwing the football early. Doesn't matter if you can play quarterback or not. Just look like you can play quarterback, and a team will give you a contract to be a backup. Unreal.
Can you imagine this guy just as like a backup or a slot tight end at this point who can play quarterback, and Andy Reid's going to cook up some of those crazy formations and get you involved and extend your career by 5 to 7 years? Couldn't be me, Joe. I want to be quarterback.
Unreal. Maybe
in the UFL, apparently, at this point. We got some hot topics coming up. George Kurtz going to join us next. Draft night tonight, right here on the Grid. The early line right here on the Sports Grid Network. Rise and grind with us on a Thursday. Big night, as we said, in the NBA, in the NHL, Major League Baseball playing a lot of afternoon games. But the draft is tonight. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Rainier. We welcome in George Kurtz. George, thanks for rising and grinding with us this morning. Having some fun little draft talk here for the NFL. How about that?
Going here and in the NHL playoffs for me as well here. Looking forward to the draft tonight.
Good times tonight had by all. This will be in Pittsburgh tonight. The number 1 overall draft pick going to be taken by the Las Vegas Raiders. But apparently, George, we're not showing up in Pittsburgh as the number 1 pick. Mendoza on the clock right now, so we'll start there. Pittsburgh has the draft. Mendoza's not there. What do we make about this draft pick for the Raiders and what it means for the future? Because Kirk Cousins is telling us, man, I think I can still start as well.
I think Cousins likely will start, right? They can bring him along slowly here. The Raiders aren't going anywhere this year. They need to get this right. I think Mendoza is the right pick. Fine. I don't think he's, the next Andrew Luck when he was the number 1 overall. I don't think he's quite of that ilk here, but I think he is the top quarterback in the draft. I don't think he's the top player in the draft. I think if we weren't a quarterback crazy league, it might be somebody like Jeremiah Love who goes first overall or someone like that here. But you need a quarterback to compete in the NFL. That's where they're going here. But they need to get it right. Don't rush the kid. You're not going anywhere this year anyway.
Yeah.
George, we just want to make sure. CeeDee Lamb is still on the Cowboys, right? He's still playing there? Like he's still in the league? Good. So what are the chances Jerry drafts a wide receiver now that he just tied up $27 million with a number 2 receiver in Pickens here? What are your Cowboys' plans here, you think, in this draft?
This is going to be a disaster, right? Is Pickens really the guy you want to tick off now? And why would you just tell him, hey, you're not getting a long-term deal with us. You're not. Go eat it. I don't know why. You're not going to see Pickens till somewhere in August, by the way, because he has no reason to show up there and sign the franchise tender there. So a strange situation there with the Cowboys. If they stay at 12, which is a big if here, I think they would like to move up to guarantee themselves one of those top defenders there, Sonny Styles type. But if they stay at 12, could they take Tyson? I think Tyson's gone by 12. I don't think he's there. I think Tate's gone by 12. So I don't think they're taking a wide receiver because there won't be anybody there. But let's just say for giggles that every defensive player goes. All right, Delane goes, Bain goes, Downs is gone. All those guys are gone, and either Tate or Tyson are there. Well, then they go on BPA, right? Which that's what I subscribe to. BPA, you got to get the best player available. And Tyson or Tate are there at 12. Are you going to reach for someone like Falk, who's really more of a late teens guy? Akeem Missador, same thing, more of a teens guy. So, yeah, I'd be okay with them taking a wide receiver at 12 in that situation, assuming everybody else is gone. It's Jerry, let's face it. He's going to do something wacky tonight. It's what he does. So we'll see what happens here. But I think the only way they take a wide receiver is if everything else goes wrong and somehow one of those two falls.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. And Jerry's sometimes very good with those BPAs where it's like, hey, I know we got wideouts. You pick up, CeeDee Lamb. At that point, you got value. The Micah Parsons draft pick. He has made some good picks, but roster construction, sometimes not his best effort here, where he seems to like to say, let's hold your contract out, and then we'll reset the market on your price, which even now includes kickers at this point. But the draft is going to take place tonight, George. Round number 1. Usually quarterbacks get overdrafted. We know Mendoza is going to go number 1 overall. Let me ask you this question, because now we see all the smoke and the signals. Oh, Carson Beck might make it in the round number 1. Ty Simpson is always there. If I gave you the choice, like quarterbacks going in round number 1, how many quarterbacks do you think you will go there?
2. All right, that's the number, right? 1.5 is the number here to go over under here. We know Mendoza's going 1. I think and listen, I don't think Ty Simpson's the top 32 player. I don't. But what we remember in the NFL is if you take someone in the first round, you get the 5th-year option, which for quarterback is important. And what do we know, boys? Seattle at 32. They've already said it. Put it in nice, bright letters here. We want to trade out. I think that's the spot. There's going to be a team from the second round to trade into the first round to take Simpson. Maybe it's the Jets and or the Cardinals. They're there at 33 and 34. So I think that's what's going to happen though. Someone's trading at the 32 to get that spot here. They'll give up whatever it takes. They get a 5th, 6th round pick to get that first round pick, get it for the 5th-year option here. So I think 2 quarterbacks will be taken in the first round. I think it's going to be bookends. Mendoza at one end, Simpson at the other.
Yeah.
Don't even do it. I'm still worried at the number 2 pick the Jets are going to screw this. Can you think of any 2 franchises, George, who have had a bigger history of misses in the draft than the Raiders and the Jets coming in at number 1 and number 2. But I'm curious here because we've seen running backs over the last couple of years, the value now as far as a first-round pick. I don't know. I'm not sold on Love. Are you? You still think he's going to be what? Top 5 markets I've seen with him? Like, where does he go, you think?
I think his floor is probably the Cardinals at 3, although I think that's a smokescreen. I think they're just trying to say, yeah, well, we're interested in Love because I think they want someone to trade up. All right? I think they want someone to trade up there and take him. So I don't think the Cardinals taking him at 3. I think it's likely the Titans at 4. If not, I think the furthest he falls is the Commanders at 7. I think the Commanders would definitely grab him at 7 if he's there. All right, so I think it's between 3 and 7 is where he goes here. I think he's a great player. All right, so I think he will help a team, but you already sort of said it there. We devalued the running backs now for what, 15, 20 years. They're sort of picking up again. But I think the fact that Genti was taken at 6 last year didn't really pay off. Not his fault. The Raiders' offensive line was putrid. Quarterback was terrible. But I think the fact that he went 6 last year, it didn't work out, does hurt Love a little bit here. So I think between 3 and 7 is where Love goes here. I got him to the Titans at 4. I think they need to do something to help out Cam Ward here. And I think they're going to think it's a little too early to take a wide receiver there. So we'll take the running back instead.
All right, George, let's get to the real information that we need to know here. Now, I know in the Kurtz household, you're probably like, it'd be awesome, City Connect Yankees jerseys, names on the back, and also, more importantly, having more fun for these players with louder music in Yankee Stadium. The new generation of Yankee players, George, what are we seeing here with the tradition?
I think this is putrid. Judge did have a good point that they already put patches on their arm.
He did.
You know, it's a valid point here, but can we stop doing this, please? Listen, if we do this, how long until it's Yankee Stadium presented by Wells Fargo? Because that's going to be the next thing. They'll sell the rights to the stadium, right? That'll be next, too. No, I hate that. And I like the blue jerseys, by the way. I do like them, but I hate the idea. And if you're wearing a Yankee jersey and you have the name on the back, you are an idiot. I'm sorry. They don't do that here. Realize that.
Kevin Walsh loves a nice Jeter jersey with the name on the back. Guy rocks it all the time here. Thank you, George, for rising and grinding with us on a Thursday. Big night tonight. We'll talk to George again, and we'll be right back after the break. A little baseball here to end out the hour number one here on the Early Line Sports Grid Network. Donnie Rightside and Joe Renier. And we're talking those Philadelphia Phillies. I got to say this, Joe. The Phillies, are extremely lucky that the Flyers have taken the town by storm. The Sixers were an afterthought, thought they'd get blown out in game number 2, won that game. That's taking up a lot of talk in Philadelphia. And the Phillies are on the road, but they can't duck losing streaks. They lost again yesterday. 8 straight games they've lost since their tanking year, the longest, in 2018. Understand this. This isn't one of those, don't worry about it, everybody's hurt. No. The majority of the lineup is in place with their starting pitching, and they stink, Joe. And it's not a matter of, man, they get 4-2 every time they get to the 7th inning, the bullpen blows it. They're getting beat down from the get-go here. It's embarrassing. They stink. And I don't want to talk about them, Joe, so you talk about it.
I think longest streak they had 9, I think going back to 2018, Donnie, is what they are. So, my goodness. Are we in that kind of territory? Listen, I think it's too veteran of a team. You know, I would rather have this, and I think you would agree, Donnie, right? I would rather have this kind of slide now as opposed to trying to figure it out in, let's say, August, right? And all of a sudden, like, expect. So every team is going to have this. Have it now. If you're going to do it, figure it out now and then move on. Plenty of baseball left to go.
I'm telling you, they are so lucky other teams are doing well in the drafts tonight, because once all that starts to slow down, the Sixers probably aren't going to win their series against Boston. The Flyers might make it another round before they get bounced out unless they stay hot incredibly. And then all those eyes in the summer will beat the hell out of the Philadelphia Phillies. And they deserve it right now. It's not anything. Cost cut this year, Joe. They have the 27th highest payroll in baseball. No. They're top 5 in baseball and one of the worst teams by a wide margin in Major League Baseball. We'll see if they can turn it around. And Rob Thompson, there's nothing he can really do, Joe, but you're not going to get rid of Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. You're getting rid of the manager, but they say he's safe right now. 2 or 3 more losses in a row, he's not going to be safe anymore, Joe, I'll tell you that.
Again, though, but such a veteran team. Like, it ain't the manager. Like, you guys get it together here. And you got to score more than 2 runs, Donnie. I mean, that's the bottom line. I think the hitters got to get it done no matter what you want to say. You can't keep throwing, Taijuan Walker out there and expect good things to happen here. But I do think Wheeler coming back is going to help. I think the warmer weather coming up will help. But they got to get out of this funk offensively, Donnie. They got to do something.
Let me take you back to 1990, Joe, in the Bronx here. Still the old Yankee Stadium, and also George Steinbrenner is the owner here. Let's call it maybe the Mattingly years. Don Mattingly goes upstairs. Mr. Steinbrenner, I want to have a minute with you. You know what would be awesome? If we can get brand new uniforms and do something real crazy out there on the field. What do you think George Steinbrenner would tell the Yankees of today when they go, boy, it'd be really cool to change our uniforms?
Yeah, he would have traded whatever player thought that was a brilliant idea to come up there and be like, hey, Mr. Steinbrenner, what do you think about, taking our batting practice jersey? No, yet traded, next day, traded, see you later, fired. Absolutely not. But Donnie, like we had mentioned, when you haven't won anything in 16 years, it's kind of hard to hold on to, what made you unique and great to begin with, because you feel like you're just like everyone else. And it's the one thing that separated the Yankees from every other franchise, is they were never like anybody else. But now, you're not winning anyway, so why not?
And also, George Steinbrenner was still alive when they built the new Yankee Stadium, which is still astounding. That was a cathedral of Major League Baseball, and they knocked it down for an apparent knockoff, relic across the street now, which is what they have. It's kind of crazy how it works out. And I don't know if the mystique of the Yankees is gone, because they tried to build it the same way, but I'm telling you, as a kid walking into Yankee Stadium, it took your breath away, knowing how many legends were there and how many big-time events happened in that stadium, and now they don't have that anymore. Jose Soriano, is this guy the best pitcher of all time, Joe? A .24 ERA through 37 2/3 innings pitched here. Yes, that is a correct stat line for Jose Soriano.
He is having, and we saw shades of this last year, Donnie, that he was, he was really starting to come into his own. But the way he has started out right now this year, it's almost unhittable, Donnie, which is great, because they'll figure out a way to waste this great season of his as well, because that's what the Angels do.
Absolutely. By the way, there's a story I want to talk about. Maybe we'll get to it in the early parts of hour number 2. Joe, a Major League Baseball player caught a 108 mile per hour hit, and it wasn't an out. I need some help with this. And hour number 2 is coming up next, and Joe is going to give me that help with this story. Draft night in the NFL tonight. We know that. The NBA, playoffs, absolutely. The NHL, yes, you guessed it, afternoon Major League Baseball. We got everything going on a Thursday, which includes an action-packed hour number 2. Kevin Walsh going to join us next year. We'll have a little PME halfway through this hour, and also some best bets on the way. But the hot topics, Joe, they never stop, and that's what we deliver to the people.
What it's all about, Donnie. We got a lot going on. I mean, multiple playoff games in multiple leagues here tonight. The draft is going on. Plenty of Major League Baseball action. A little something for everyone here today.
And oddities that we're going to talk about now, which happened in Major League Baseball. How about this, Joe? A 108 mile per hour comebacker ends up in Logan Gilbert's shirt, which he grabs a hold of, tries to get it out, but they say, no, it's a base hit at this point. I need some clarification on this, Joe, because thinking about it, if it bounced, we know it would be a base hit automatically because you just can't get it out. It's like a bobble. But it gets stuck in your shirt and you grab the baseball, but you can't pull it out, but you're holding the baseball. Should that not still be an out? I guess it's one of the first times we've ever seen this, I'm going to assume.
I don't understand. I've watched the play, Donnie. Like, I don't understand the concept here. If you get a 108 mile an hour line drive hit back at you and the ball never really ends up hitting the ground, it's just stuck in your uniform somewhere. What is the problem exactly? I don't get it, right? Shouldn't you in what other sport does that ever happen, Donnie? Like, I don't get, like, if a receiver catches the ball and gets stuck in his helmet, is it a fumble? Like, what? I don't understand. What is that?
And also, like, if we put into more extreme terms, Joe, let's just say a ball is rocked into the outfield. The center fielder is running full speed back, catches the ball, smashes into the wall, but the ball comes loose and he's knocked out cold. but the ball is laying on the small of the player's back, and the right fielder comes over and picks it up. He's out, right? Like, oh, wait, no. The ball was laying there, but wait, it wasn't on the field. It's such a weird play that happened, which is interesting that it turned into a base hit and not an out, and maybe we won't see that play ever again. Let's get to Pittsburgh tonight, Joe. Or is this the Strait of Hormuz? Did you know, Joe, when you always talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, the congregation of all the rivers coming together, the Monongahela, the Ohio, whatever it is. Did you know, Joe, the U.S. Coast Guard Marine Safety Unit in Pittsburgh will enforce a security zone on local waterways during the NFL draft to ensure public safety. The security zone will take place from 12 a.m. on April 23rd to 11:59 p.m. on April 25th. Did I miss something here? Are battleships coming down here on the Monongahela and looking to take aim at the Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium?
That's a lot of water over there, and that's a lot of shipping routes over there that folks are going to have to be going the long way around there, Donnie. What is the temperature, by the way, at the start of this draft tonight? I'm just curious. Like, what are we looking at here? 30 degrees, 35. This is, I don't know how much traffic you'd be looking at anyway, really, this time of year, Donnie.
Hey, let me get some Pittsburgh weather up. It's not going to be that bad today, Joe. A high of 78 because we did have the freezing cold temperatures for the past couple of days, but today it is starting to shift, so they did get a little bit lucky. How about this? Thursday, 78, Friday, 80, Saturday with rain, which is when Vrabel's going to have his counseling, so he didn't want to show up to maybe the draft in Pittsburgh. But how about that? Pittsburgh public safety, man, closing down the waterways here. And by the way, which is interesting to me, like most stadiums sometimes do sit by water. Does that mean like now that every NFL game we got to shut down the waterways? Is that we like remember in Knoxville, like they bring that brigade down the river so they can watch Tennessee Vols football? Does that armada have to get blockaded too now, Joe? Is this something new?
Yeah. Cincinnati, they're right on the water there too as well. Like, I don't understand what we're doing. We're just blocking everything up here, but listen, 78, I think you already won, Pittsburgh. The fact that it's going to be that warm here, I think it's a win-win situation today.
And by the way, and also, I understand this. Like, I'm all, like, obviously public safety first and foremost. But one of the rare times, I guess, in April, you're going to get an 80-degree weekend. Don't you think it will be a really cool atmosphere where everybody just gets on their boat, comes down the river, throws the anchor in? There's a monster party out there on the river where everybody can enjoy the draft? Like, no, the NFL's like, no! Close it all down. We're not going to have any fun. Or is it just, Joe, you can't make any money on those people boating out there with all the sales and stuff like that? Could that be it? Ooh.
Yes, that's correct. Unless you're, what is it, Heinz 57, who apparently is, I guess the NFL has sold the rights. So whoever gets drafted 57th here in the draft is going to get a lifelong supply of ketchup. So I just, meanwhile, they changed the name of the field. It's no longer Heinz. It's laughable what's going on there.
What are we spending our money on, Heinz? You're an institution in Pittsburgh. They're going to sponsor a draft pick, but not still be on the stadium with the big ketchup bottle in the end zone? Disastrous at this point. I'll tell you what else is disastrous. Mike Vrabel. But sometimes the jokes just write themselves. And I say this all the time, Joe. We as a society, we're always doomed to make errors. But you come back from those errors, you just admit your faults. You raised up from like a young kid when your parents would tell you, look, the punishment's going to be swift if you tell me no here. Did you break that front window? Yes, Dad, I broke it. All right, you're going to get some punishment, but I appreciate the truth here, and we can move on from this as opposed to continue about lying about it. If Mike Vrabel just came out in that press conference, hey, look, I wasn't supposed to talk to him. I wanted to come out. I apologize. I erred. I asked for my privacy, my family, but read between the lines. Here's what's going down. I'm going to make a better man of myself, and we'll be back on the football field and get back to business. But I love this where it's like, had some talk with people here, and I appreciate everything that's going on. And my penalty is going to be day 3 of the draft. So I won't be in the draft room for the 7th round draft pick because it's so important that I get the counseling on a Saturday. I'm going to put out this release here. Stop.
And again, if it was a personal, you said what you said, and that's it. So who is leaking that he's not going to be there to be at a council? Like, why?
Yeah.
Or why do we know that? I don't want to know that. I don't need to know that. Nobody needs to know that. Day 3, would you expect any head coach, by the way, to be front and center with the draft? No, at that point, you already know what's going on. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Counseling on a Saturday, and we don't even know what the hell the counseling is absolutely even for at this point. But other hot topics, Joe, which include Giannis Antetokounmpo. He tells you all the time, I don't know where this rumor, I want to be in Milwaukee, but yet he tells his agents, I want to be anywhere but in Milwaukee. And by the way, if you're talking about like, hey, New York City, that's a win over Milwaukee. Hey, how about Miami and South Beach? That's a win over Milwaukee. How about Phoenix, Arizona? That's a monster win over Milwaukee. Everybody would want to be anywhere but Milwaukee. Giannis, it's time for him to move on, Joe. It's going to happen this summer.
Well, what they should do is just trade him to Washington and see how excited he is about that. Just send him over to the Wizards, where everybody else goes to watch their career go down the drain. But the bottom line is, just get enough. Like, this has played itself out. Ship him down here to Miami, and that'll be the end of it, because Pat Riley will do whatever he's got to do to get that big whale in the offseason, and he is likely going to be it.
Exactly, especially as an athlete, too. Like, you go from, like, Milwaukee, and you go down to South Beach, and it's like, hey, man, I'm either going to make more money on my contract and get really nice weather. Yeah, sign me up for that. Lamine Yamal, sign me up for, should say, sign him up for maybe hamstring reconstruction, Joe. Devastating information across the globe on Yamal's hamstring.
Reconstruction, that's interesting. That's a pretty big hamstring problem right there, Donnie. You got to be careful with the hamstrings, man. Got to stretch them out in the morning.
$12 to $13 million for Kalen DeBoer. Boy, it just means more in the SEC, doesn't it? At least more money.
He's got exactly 30 seconds to enjoy the new bump there to $12.5 million, because he's right back on the hot seat, Donnie, immediately in the next 24 hours.
By the way, the owner is so cheap out there in Portland, I think Thiago Splitter has to suit up and take somebody's spot away so he gets paid as the coach and a player tonight, Joe, apparently, or whenever.
Yeah, that's the way he should do it. Yeah, except that owner doesn't like spending money, apparently, so that should be fun.
Kansas City Royals announced their plans for a new stadium. The Fever are going to be on TV all the time. Smart business move. And Man City, who the hell cares about them? But they're in the early lineup. We're going to go to break and bring up Kevin Walsh. That's what means something, not Man City. Kansas City coming up next. Stick with us.
Advances.
Thursday morning on the grid, your place to be. It's the early line, getting ready for the NFL draft, and a lot of action across the sports landscape here. It's Donnie Rightside, it's Joe Ranieri. Now we bring in Kevin Walsh on an early morning Thursday here with so much going down here. GTD is going to be on fire tonight.
Yeah, we are. It is loaded. We'll get into whatever we want to get into. We'll let people know tonight we're just going to do the NFL draft on Game Time Decisions. We just figured there's only one draft night, right? For real. Yeah. So we figured we'd just kind of step up draft style and make it happen here. I'm pretty excited.
Hype around the draft. We'll have some fun. Mendoza, the number 1 overall pick, is going to go to Vegas. The only question I have, Ken, let me ask you this question first, too. Should Vegas technically not be on the clock and the minute the draft starts, their pick should be in? Or do you want to see them take their time and then they have to show the video of the room where they congratulate themselves for the pick they made like 6 months ago?
It's actually, it is going to be interesting how long it takes. Someone did tell me that the draft times are shorter this year, so the first round may actually move a bit quicker. But to your point, basically the Jets have the first overall pick, if you think about it, right?
Yes.
And we have absolutely no clue what the New York Jets are going to be doing at second overall. So, like the mock drafts, we joke, but man, there are a lot of questions right now starting at 2, and it's a domino effect. It really, really is.
I'm looking here now, Kev, because it seems to have come down to 2 guys for the Jets, provided they don't trade out of it. But I don't know that there's... they can accumulate more assets, but they need an edge rusher, and that's what this draft has right now. So it's either going to be Reese or Bailey, and then it feels like whoever they pick, the other guy is going to Arizona because they're kind of in the same boat at that point, right?
So it feels like the other guy will go third, just not to Arizona. That is kind of the read around the room right now. The Cardinals just want to trade back because the Cardinals... So at this point, I do believe that if Arizona doesn't trade out, they are going to take Jeremiah Love, which is a crazy decision. As big of a Jeremiah Love fan as you will find, to re-sign James Conner, freshly sign Tyler Algier, be where you are as an organization, grabbing Love third feels ridiculous, which is why I think Arizona will be happy to trade back at less than like Donnie, I know you always say, you want to come up, that's going to cost you, 3 number 1s. Donnie, they might be happy with a second round pick and they'll move back to 8 or 9 because really this Arizona, number 1 priority today might be drafting Ty Simpson at some point here in the first round.
Now, Kevin, I know you take the draft seriously. Like myself, I hope I'm even up for the Eagles pick. I don't do any wagering or handicapping. I put no effort into the draft myself.
I can spoil it for you.
Yeah, people like yourself do that. Do you have any options tonight that you're looking for? Because I saw the tweet that you put out, like you're close to finalizing that board for draft night. Have we made any decisions for tonight?
Yeah, so a few. We know that the draft odds move a ton, and that's just kind of the nature of it. The thing is, and I will just kind of stress this to people, right? If I were to give people a money line parlay of the 3 biggest favorites, you'd be like, ooh, first day on the job. Like, that's crazy. Things are going to go wrong. The draft is very, very different, right? In the draft, you're willing to lay juice and you're looking for certainty, and you can kind of bring those things together. So I think those round 1 parlays are very, very interesting. I am right now trying to figure out like a Denzel Boston, Ty Simpson combination because the Simpson noise is really, really loud at this point. The straight wager that I placed is kind of straight up and down. Was Akeem Mesidor under 25.5 draft position? Mesidor's mocked to the Tampa Bay Bucks at 15 in most drafts. Now, apparently Tampa wants to trade down. That's fine with me. They're not going to trade out of the top 25, and still someone else could grab Mesidor. So I don't know how much that juice has moved on every single book, but I think Mesidor ends up actually a top 20 pick.
So how many wide receivers are we thinking go in the first round here? Is there going to be a run? I saw the number at 5.5. It doesn't feel like we have that one game. There's no Jamar Chase or Jefferson in this. You got nice receivers, but they're number twos, really. How many go in the first round, you think?
So there's pretty much no world where Tate, Lemon, and Tyson are not first-round picks. You're then looking at Omar Cooper, Denzel Boston, and Casey Concepcion. Anyone other than that other trio would be pretty surprising. Chris Bell, Malachi Fields. But that does mean the over 5.5, which is juiced now, right, Joe? Yep. It's just an exact 6, which is why I don't love that over 5.5, because could a team, picking between Casey Concepcion and an offensive lineman say, you know what, just give me the big body and we'll figure out another receiver? Omar Cooper, I mean, you guys covered Indiana football as much as anyone, any team last year in college football. Does anyone remember Omar Cooper Jr. being discussed like a round 1 wide receiver? Or was he discussed like the 3rd best wide receiver on Indiana? So I've been a little hesitant. The wide receiver stuff's gotten crazy, though. Jordan Tyson went from a liability with a bad hamstring to maybe going 5th overall because he did one private workout with 15 routes. So the wide receiver stuff, I'm glad you brought it up, Joe, has been really all over the map right now.
Yeah, that's what we absolutely love there. It's like, hey, you know what? I have game tape with thousands of reps, but did you see that out where nobody was covering? Man, this guy can be absolutely dominant, which is so crazy, which I always tell you, I'd fire any general manager I had if they ever went to a private workout and said they really liked the guy. But, Kevin, quickly on the docket tonight, I think the NBA playoffs just started. A -1.5, a -3, and a -1.5 tonight. Yeah. We got basketball tonight, people.
Yeah, we sure do. The thing is, all of a sudden you start staring at these lines, you're like, what am I supposed to do with these games? These all just look like well-priced numbers here, but I'm sure there are some advantages in these streets.
Absolutely. Catch Kevin on Game Time Decisions tonight in Extravaganza, and we'll be back. Big news tonight in the draft. We're going to have many draft picks get traded tonight. Big blockbuster deals or just a ho-hum night where Mendoza goes #1 overall. We got you covered on the Sports Grid Network. Tonight, Kevin Walsh and Gabriel Morency, 6 p.m. Eastern, game time decision, taking you up to the NFL draft, the information that you need to know. But the information you need to know in hot topics, they'll continue to pour in. How about Donald Trump says, you know what? Hey, FIFA, answer the door. Why? I want to replace Iran with Italy in the World Cup. That's not really how it works, Joe, is it?
No, it's absolutely not how it works. And quite honest, I mean, I'm sure Italy would be like, yeah, let's go. But I mean, Italy can't get out of their own way right now. They're a hot mess. So it's I don't think they would be first up, so to speak.
No, certainly not. And by the way, closer and closer we are getting to the World Cup. We'll see if it goes off without a hitch because a lot of people are getting charged a lot of money just to take a train here in the tri-state area between New York and also New Jersey and mixing a little Connecticut up there at this point. But we got some big business to deal with, which means where's the public going today on our Fade the Public poll? Draft essentials tonight, Joe. The question is not who's going #1. We know who's going #2. Who is your choice to go #2 in the NFL's draft tonight? Bailey, Reese, or a surprise? Somebody else? Mauinoa there from Miami? Who's it going to be, Joe?
Well, I absolutely think it's going to be Reese, though, and Reese has moved in the market the most, Donnie, over the last 48 hours here. But Bailey is right. But listen, can't go wrong with Bailey either. Started his career at Stanford, landed at Texas Tech, and he's young. He's only 20 years old, I believe. So, keep in mind who the head coach of the New York Jets is. He's a defensive guy, Aaron Glenn. It's going to be somebody who can get after the quarterback. And it's the first time, Donnie, I can actually say they can't screw this up going with either guy. The only thing that could happen is they don't go with either guy and they go with Simpson or some sort of craziness from there. So let's just hope they get one or the other here.
Yep, all it takes is one team to have somebody like on the draft board to throw it into chaos. And never forget those Al Davis Raider drafts where the scouts would actually tell Al Davis that a wide receiver ran a worse 40 because they know he shouldn't take him. But if they tell him he ran fast, Al Davis would take him at that point. We'll see what happens. Any gas mask type stuff tonight, guys, just losing draft status based on videos coming out right before the draft. We'll find something out there. But now it's time to get to some of those best bets for a Thursday. Here's bye, bye, bye. We got the information that you need. Trying to come up with some W's tonight, Joe. Where are we going for your best bet tonight?
Yeah, well, tonight I'm going to go with I believe the first game up there, Donnie, with the New York Knicks heading to Atlanta to take on the Hawks in the all-important Game 3. And listen, this has been a series that the Knicks have handled except for, well, down the stretch in the fourth quarter of that last game and gave, of course, Atlanta an opportunity. And they did, and they took it. But this is where experience comes in. It's also a series that I thought a lot about the zigzag theory, and I thought this would apply in this series. And look at the market price, Donnie. It's just about a pick 'em, and I get a proven team, playoff team with the Knicks at this kind of number. I think Jalen Brunson and company, they have no answer for Josh Hart, by the way, Atlanta. They have it in 2 games. I think he's going to be key again tonight. I like the Knicks at this price to get it done.
Yeah, Knicks fans probably travel well. Probably still cheaper, Joe, to get on a flight to Atlanta this morning, buy a ticket and come home than what it would be costing to get into the Garden itself. Let's move over in the NBA for myself today. I'm taking an underdog tonight. Love to take the dogs. Last night, Joe, hey, man, every game OKC wins by 20-plus points in the playoffs at home. Not last night. I told you to take the 17.5, and we got the cover with Phoenix. Tonight, Cleveland Cavaliers on the road to take on the Toronto Raptors. Cleveland up 2-0 in this series. Love this spot for the home team kitchen sink type of game. Lines opened up around 3.5. Actually, right now I'm seeing across the board 3s and 2.5s. But we locked in that plus 3.5 earlier this morning. Let's even get an outright victory tonight for those Toronto Raptors. Now, you say, Donnie, what do you like about this game? Not a ton here, except how about the betting public, Joe? Only around 35% of the tickets coming in on those Toronto Raptors. That line is going down, and we'll take it. Here's your handicap tonight. Nobody wants to take the Raptors. Your boy DRS, he's taking the Raptors, and you should too, Joe. Big winning night for the boys tonight on a Thursday. That's the script.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Cavs have led this series wire to wire since game one. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but they're going home, and they've got a shot, Donnie. I really think I'm with you on this one.
Prediction, markets, edge on the early line is next. Joe and Donnie, we return right after this quick break.
Process is closed. Let's call it out for this, right? And is it their fault? You could, they've been just besieged at Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series. Can he give you like 2, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Scottie Scheffler, the best golfer in the world. How many majors will he win this year? And if he does get 4, Joe, that's currently trading at 3 cents. So a $100 investment actually only pays back $333 at this point, which is kind of insane when you ask him to win all 4. Joe, I told you already, sticking to my guns. $100 investment on no majors. None over the next 4 this year.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
You build teams in the second, third, and fourth round, right, Donnie? Yeah. That's where you build. That's where you get the depth. That's where you build the team. So teams looking for draft capital very much could be alive and well in this draft coming up because there's just nobody to mortgage the future for because you need your franchise guy. They're just not in this draft.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.